周五的晚上和大家相聚。好的，那我们现场点击一下录制。Okay, so first of all, let's welcome our guest today, Anshul. Jai Gurudev, Anshul. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. We're so excited to have you here because you are not so familiar with us. So we are all very eager to hear your experience, especially Guruji asked us to invite you specifically.
Nice.
So you can see now we have like around 50 Chinese Sangha member with us online. It will grow a little bit more. So today our conversation mainly it's we won't open a question or answer section. It's mainly just the conversation between us.
Sure.
So maybe could you give us like a short introduction about yourself?
Yeah. Jai Gurudev, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's very nice to talk to devotees. And it's always very nice to talk about Guruji because it's also a reminder for me how lucky we all are to have, first of all, a master in our life and to have meaning in our life, because many people don't have this basic meaning in life and direction in life. So thank you very much for having me and inviting me on to speak with you today. A little bit about myself. I'm 41 years old, and I met Guruji first in 2005, and that was well over 17 years ago now. And since then, at that time I was living in the UK, so I was born and brought up in the UK, and I studied to become a dentist, and that's my profession. And I worked in London for some time. With Guruji's help, I got married, and I have 2 small children. And now I live here in Germany, next to the ashram in Sri Pitanilia, where I'm still working as a dentist, but not in the UK anymore, but in Germany. And and in these 17 years, I'm very lucky in that I've got to experience a lot with Guruji. So that's a short introduction about myself.
Great, thank you. So may I ask, how do you know about Guruji at the first place?
Yeah, so as you can tell from the color of my skin, I come from an Indian family. We are from Sri Lanka originally. And my parents were always religiously inclined. My mother, she's a brahmacharini. She lives in the ashram, and she had always prayed to deities, and she'd always made prayer a central part of her life. So we grew up with that. And we followed another master, Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba. And as a young boy, I remember going to see Sai Baba when I was 9-10 years old and thinking, wow, I want to be close to a master. And I wanted to be close to Baba. And as time went on, this longing grew more and more and more. And I became obsessed. I became completely obsessed with being close to a master, a true master. And I would travel to India. As a teenager, we would take out loans. We would travel to India in order to meet Baba. And this desire grew so strong that we often came back disappointed because we couldn't meet Baba. And I remember we gave up completely. And then my brother met Guruji. And after his first, I think you guys met Myron last week or the week before. And he came back and he said, Guruji is not a real guru. He's not a real guru. We're wasting our time with him. But then he had this compulsion to go back and see Guruji. He went back for a second visit, and then he said, he came back and he was changed. He said, he's real. He's a real master. He knows what you're thinking. He knows everything. He knows your soul. And I'm going to follow this guy. And so for me, this longing was always there to be close to a master. And I remember before I met Guruji, I had a dream where Sathya Sai Baba said, I will meet you very, very soon. Don't worry. And this was after the time I'd given up going to India, going to see him. And then everything transpired with my brother. And then after a couple of weeks, I found myself in Germany. And I never forget, I was waiting in a room and Guruji opened the door and he was dressed in robes and he had a big shawl, he had a big staff, a danda. And I remember, wow, this guy looks majestic. And that's how I first met Guruji. So it was through my brother. Yeah, that's how I met him.
Okay. So what happened during your first meeting together?
What happened? Nothing much, actually. Nothing much. I met him. Sorry, I just closed my door. I met him and we exchanged a few words, and all he said was, I remember we were sitting by a fireplace and there were many devotees there and we were talking and Guruji was talking to everyone, but he didn't talk to me very much. He didn't talk to me very much. And eventually I fell asleep. So I fell asleep and then I woke up and Guruji was looking right into my eyes like this. He was looking straight into my eyes, really close. Obviously, I got a jump. I was startled. And he said, wait, we will talk soon. And then that was the first encounter. And some people, when they meet Guruji, they think they start crying. They have all this emotion. They feel this unconditional love. I didn't feel any of that. I just thought he looks nice. He looks like a nice person. And I didn't feel anything like that. Anyhow, a few weeks later, Guruji came to London. And I came to see him in London. And after the event in London, we had an interview. And then he told me a lot of things about my past that no one else would know. And by doing that, he started to build my curiosity and my trust in him, that he knew everything about me already. And that's what happened in that meeting, yeah.
So you mean he knows everything about your past in this life or past life?
He mentioned both.
Wow.
Yeah. So he told me, obviously, I don't know about my past life. I can't remember. So I can't confirm that. I think you have to understand that with me and my brother, we're very logical and very grounded. Yeah. So I can't confirm anything about my past life, but I can confirm about this life. And what he said was true. So, and I remember one time we had an interview with Sai Baba. And in this interview, Sai Baba mentioned a few things to us. And Guruji quoted to me, word for word, what Baba had said in the interview. No one else could have known. He wasn't in the room. Guruji was probably in Mauritius at this time, and we were in India at this time. But Guruji quoted word for word what Baba had told us about her life. And that was, again, a confirmation that Guruji knows everything.
So is there a crucial moment for you to decide follow Guruji?
No, there was no crucial moment. There was no sort of turning point. I never met Guruji and thought I'm skeptical of the whole thing or this is not true. But I liked him and I liked being around him, and I liked the atmosphere that was created around him. And I kept going. And at the beginning, Guruji didn't give me so much attention. And that got my curiosity and that awakened more longing in me. And as I said, a lot during this period, there were many instances which showed to me that he knew everything, which showed to me that he's beyond time and space and that he's not a normal human being.
Could you please share with us about the last point? He's not a normal human being.
Yeah, I always say about Guruji, the problem with Guruji is he's so human. Yeah, he's so human, and that brings it with it certain problems for the devotee, yeah, or the disciple, because we are often always kept guessing because he's so human. But then there'll be times where Guruji will show his divinity. So one instance was we were in Stephanshof in the old ashram, and I'd spent some time with Guruji, and then Guruji went to go to bed. Well, he didn't go to bed, but usually there was, he went to a different building where there was private time with some devotees. And I really wanted to go, but he said he selected a few people and then he went. And this got my curiosity, my longing going. And I wanted so badly to be with him that I couldn't sleep that night. I was constantly thinking about, I need to be with Guruji, I wanted to be with him, but this desire would not go away. And so eventually, after a few hours of praying and longing, I fell asleep. And in the middle of the night, I was awoken. I woke up, I stood up, and I looked to my side and I saw Guruji. And Guruji was lying next to me. But it wasn't, it was an apparition of Guruji. It was Guruji had appeared in front of me. And being completely shocked, I covered myself again with my duvet and a blanket. And I said, is that real? Is this real? Is this real? And then I looked again and Guruji was still there. And I knew Guruji had gone to his bed. He'd gone to his room, which was a completely separate building. And so that was one instance which showed that he's not normal. People can't do that every day. I can't do that where I appeared to someone else in a different place, in a different body. So yeah.
Sorry, there is a little bit mix up here. Can you my camera, can you open? Okay. Okay, sorry.
No problem. Yeah.
So you mean yeah. It's like you saw Guruji, but it's not the physical Guruji.
It was an apparition. It was like he appeared in front of me. And so yeah, that was one extreme example of how he can bend the rules of time and space. And he always says he's with you, and he is with us. He is with us. Whether you're in China or whether you're in Germany, whether you're directly in front of him, whether you're not, he is with us. He is with us. I remember just share with you a recent experience. he was doing online darshan. And so I was sitting next to him as he was doing online darshan. And he has a big screen in front of him where all the people are there. And as you know, after he gives online darshan, he speaks with a few individuals. Yeah? And he selected one lady to speak. And this lady shared, she said, I was pregnant with a baby, and I lost my baby. And I was really, really sad. I was terribly sad. And the grief was very overwhelming. And for quite a few nights, she would have this dream where a person, a brown man with strange markings on his forehead and long hair would appear to her in her dream. She'd never met this man, yeah, but this person would appear in her dreams and say, come and find me, come and find me, come and find me. And she would have the same dream for days on end. She was on Facebook or Instagram, and she came across the information for Guruji's online darshan. She saw the picture of Guruji and she said, this is the guy that's been appearing in my dream. He's been appearing in my dream. And so that she was explaining this to Guruji and saying, after so much grief, I finally found you. I finally found you on online darshan, and I'm so happy to be here. And Guruji, all he said was, blessings, I'm happy that you're here. Jai Gurudev. But that just shows how Guruji is, in Mauritius, he said, the physical part of me is 0.000000001% of what I do. And so outside of his physical body, things are happening which pull the people to him at the right time when they need to be with him. And I think that's the same with all of you. All of you have your own individual story of how you came to meet Guruji and how he may have influenced your life.
Yes. And in your self-introduction, you mentioned that with Guruji's help, you are married.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like there is a good story.
Yeah, it's a good story. So I had met Guruji and I was, with him and my wife, my now wife. At that point, when we met Guruji, we weren't together. We weren't together. And I remember when she met Guruji after me. When she first came to meet Guruji, Guruji came to me and kept telling me, she's come. Do you know where she is? She's come. He kept asking me about her. And I didn't care at that point. I mean, she was just another person. I asked, why is he asking me about her? But he kept asking me, like, how is she? Do you know how she is? And all this stuff. And I was just like, I don't know. But yeah, I could find out. And so a couple of years came by, and we were actually brahmacharis. And then Guruji dissolved the organization, and in a dream he said, come to South Africa with me. So I booked a flight and I was about to go to South Africa. I get on the plane and Guruji's on the same flight. So Guruji's on the same flight. And just before then, my wife and I, we started speaking because there were a few problems, and from that developed a friendship. And then Guruji in South Africa, he basically said, I was very shy. I didn't want to tell him anything. And he said, what's going on? How's Subha? My wife. And I said, yeah, she's good. tell me what's going on with you two. You like her? Do you like her? And he kept asking. And I kept playing shy and going, no. And then finally I had the courage to admit, yeah, I like her. And he said, yeah, do it. It's good. You're both on the path. You're both, it's good that you get married. Let me, give me your phone. I will text her and tell her that it's okay. You should get married and you should be together. And so he texted her and he said, it's good, carry on, move on with your life. And he was so sweet. Even at the airport, he bought my wife some earrings. You know, she was going to be my girlfriend, not his girlfriend, but he took it upon himself to buy her earrings. And he made me give it to her. And he encouraged us all the way. He said, it's good because you're both on the path and you will encourage each other to be on the path. But I'm being completely honest with you as well, yeah? 10 years later, so that's 10 years later, after two boys, we've had two children, two boys. One of the other brahmacharis decided to get married. And then he wanted to speak with this brahmachari. And he turned to me and he said, do you know it was a mistake that you got married?
Sorry,
and
you said?
It was a
said,
mistake. It was a mistake.
Mistake?
Yeah. In the sense of, I've made my life a bit harder than it should have been. You see what I mean? Some people, Guruji encourages to become brahmacharis. And the point I want to make, I don't know if some of you are brahmacharis, if some of you are married, or what your situation is. But if you choose to be a brahmachari, you have to take the path seriously. Yeah. And you have to be committed. And unfortunately, we weren't committed to the path. Yeah. We decided to get married. Yeah. And that's why I think Guruji said we'd made a mistake. Yeah. But again, I've been completely open and honest because I'm not perfect. I think we kind of corrected it because we always put Guruji first. We try and put Guruji first in our marriage. So often you'll see that we live here in Germany, but I'm most of the time a lot with Guruji. So most people would say, or most wives would say, oh, you should be with your wife. You should be with me. You're helping me with the kids. You should spend time at home with the kids. You should influence the children. But my wife always says, if you have a chance to be with Guruji, you should always grab it with both hands. And so she sends me away to Guruji, you know, and this is why I think our marriage works, because we both put Guruji first. Even you see some people, some marriages may have problems because one person is close to Guruji, one person isn't, you know. But with us, Subha's very giving in the sense of she would say, go and see Guruji because your place is with him. It's not necessarily with me, you know. Often wives can accept a husband going out to work, but they will not accept them going out to be with friends or whatever. You see what I mean? Work is work and family time is family time. But when it comes to Guruji, everything takes second place. And maybe it sounds a bit crazy, but even kids and wife. And that's something Guruji doesn't demand it. He doesn't demand it. Of course he doesn't. But I'm in a privileged position where if Guruji doesn't mind me being around him, you know, he doesn't tell me to go away. He doesn't tell me to, have you got nothing better to do than hang around me? So in that sense, I'm in a privileged position, and my wife and I both feel that it's important that I spend time with him if I can. Yeah.
Yeah, we can also observe that, like in many like live stream of SPN, you are always around.
Yeah, I hang around him like a bad smell. And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
just curiosity, but there is a like specific role for when you are around Guruji. What is there a role for you, or you just really just hang around?
yeah, there's no particular job description. Guruji has never defined my job or my role. But he did say once that we will be very close, and that I'll be around him to help him. What does it mean to help him? Let me clarify that. Guruji doesn't need my help. He doesn't need my help, really. What I do, any of you can do. I'm sure any of you can do. In fact, I would say probably most of you are serving Guruji in a better way than me. But what I do is I serve him in any way I can, whether it's making a tea, whether it's folding his clothes, whether it's ironing his robe, whether it's opening his letters, whether it's serving him food, whether it's everyday things, that I serve him with, you know, whether it's preparing his painting so that he can paint, whether it's preparing his relics so he can prepare them for the chapel, and so on and so on and so on. And so I have no particular job description, but I'm in a lifetime quarantine with him. That's what it feels like. You know, you had the corona and everyone was in quarantine. I'm like that with him because I'm so easily influenced that I think I can easily go into the world and be very happy in the world, you know, in Maya. And I think he's brought me close so that he can keep me on the spiritual path, because my samskaras are so strong that I think I can go and easily be in the world and think that I'm happy, but not be fulfilled. And I think that's why he shows tremendous mercy with me, more than I deserve. And so that's what I do. That's what I do when you see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very humble way to put to explain your situation. But I think I heard that there is a story when you share this. I have this feeling that because you have such a so strong longing that you want to be close to your master. So I guess that's in a way Guruji is answering your prayer, like to really allow you to be close with him.
Absolutely. There is a huge backstory to this. There is, I don't mean this in an arrogant way at all, but there's a lifelong longing for this. There has been. I remember it started off when I was a 9-year-old child, and it continued way into my 20s, where I became obsessed. And I mentioned that at the beginning of the session today. And I remember I would get up at 5 in the morning every morning and pray to God to bring me a master. I would write letters to Satya Sai Baba. Pardon?
Since 9 years old?
I was at the time I started praying every day when I was 18, 19 years old. No, 20 years old. But before then, the longing was there. The longing was there. I was doing japa. I was meditating as a teenager, and I had always this desire to be close to a guru. Always, and it would never go away. And yeah, I would write letters to Baba every week from the UK. I would send him a letter every week for months and years. I would visit India for every holiday that I had. I would go and take money and go visit India. And this longing grew and grew and grew. And even when I met Guruji didn't give me so much attention at the beginning. It wasn't like it was now. And so the longing grew even more. Yeah. And it became crazy that I would come every weekend to Germany to come and see him. And I remember Guruji visited the UK once and he was about to leave. And I was so frustrated that I couldn't be close to him. So frustrated, so annoyed that before he left, I said, Guruji, I need to speak to you. I need to speak to you. And he said, okay. And it was a bit disrespectful the way I spoke to him because he was about to leave. But he gave me his time and he said, what's the matter? And I said, Guruji, I want to be close to you. I want to be close to you. And he said, you will be close to me. Don't worry, you will be close. Very, very relaxed. And he said, you will be close. Don't worry. And then a few weeks and months passed and it didn't happen. And then again, I went to him and I said, I need to speak to you. And he said, I said, Guruji, I want to be close to you. I want to be close to you. And he turned to me and he goes, I promised you, didn't I? I promised you that you would be close to me. And he basically said, but the tone in which he said it was, he was a little bit frustrated because he said, I gave you my word that you would be close to me. And that quieted down my mind. That said, okay, he promised me. Now it's down to him. Now it's down to him. This was maybe in 2007, 2008. Time goes by, years go by, and every time I'd come to Springen, I would speak to Guruji, I would talk to Guruji. Guruji was so gracious, he would always give me his time. But there always felt like there was a bit of separation. Somehow, there was always separation. Then in 2016, he asked me to move to Germany. At that time, I had a brilliant job. I had a house. I was with my wife. I had 2 boys. They were just born, very young kids. And he asked me to move to Germany. On the outside, it seemed like madness. But we did it. We moved to Germany, and that in itself is a big story. Just leaving everything behind and come to Germany. And basically the summary is we slept in a room, or a big room with a kitchen. And I had to learn German. I had to work. I was a taxi driver. I was teaching as an English teacher. I couldn't work as a dentist because my German wasn't so good. And in this time I learned German. And so there was a whole journey trying to get my life settled. I lost my job as well in the UK. So everything was going in a downward direction from my life in the UK. But I trust Guruji, I trust Guruji, I trust Guruji. You know, my wife, even in the darkest moments, I would talk to my wife and my wife would say, don't worry, just trust Guruji, everything will be fine. We were running out of money and suddenly everything started to take off again. That means I got my job and everything, and I'm working as a dentist here now. But not only that, my relationship with Guruji took off. Because I was here, Guruji would ask me to come to dinner with him more. And then slowly from there, he would give me more and more things to do around him. Like I said, make tea and serve him in a more direct way. And that was in 2017-18. And he promised me in 2009-10.
So almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. And only now am I seeing sort of, I've come to a point where I can really say, yes, my desire, my longing has been fulfilled. And during those times, it was up and down. Many things have changed. And obviously the people have grown as well. The amount of people around Guruji have grown. And at times I would think, how could I ever be close to Guruji when there are so many people here? But the longing was always there. and he has, like I said, Guruji can very well live without me. He can very well live without me. I'd probably be happier without me. But he keeps me close, and it's one of the greatest honors of my life. Like I said, it's my greatest desire. One of my greatest desires growing up has been fulfilled. And that is something that, that I'm very aware of and appreciate immensely.
Yeah, so by hearing your journey, it's like, I think it's like many devotees have the same longing to try to be close with Guruji. But of course, for Matajis, we know we have no chance in this life. But there are many.
I disagree with you.
Why?
Yes, there's an outside etiquette. There is an outside etiquette. Yeah, of course. Even myself, I can't just go up to Guruji and go, like a friend, hey, how's it going? How are you? Everything all right? Even though we can talk in a very open way sometimes. But this is where all of you have to trust. And like I waited for 10 years, you can wait, and you will have, Guruji will give you those moments. He will give you those experiences where he shows you that he's the closest thing to you. He's closer to you than anyone else in the world. And it doesn't matter if you're a Mataji. It doesn't matter if you're an old or young. It doesn't matter. He will give you what you have to be given. And your job is to long. The longing doesn't stop. Yeah. In the Narada Bhakti Sutras, Narada says in one of the sutras, if for a few minutes you've forgotten the Lord, there should be an unsettling feeling in your heart. I've forgotten him. And then you remind yourself of him, and the longing starts again. And that's what it's like with Guruji. The longing doesn't stop. And Guruji's mentioned it in his satsangs as well. To be around him is not so easy. It's not so easy as well. But if you have the longing, Guruji will definitely give you what you deserve, and what he will acknowledge that longing. For example, my wife is a Mataji. Yeah.
Yes.
And we were on a trip to Lanzarote. And my wife paints. She's quite a good artist. And Guruji said to her, let's paint together. So every evening after he would do the 5 elements retreat, he would come back and he would come to our apartment and he would paint with my wife. Yeah. And he would paint and he would encourage her. He would give her tips. He would tell her to do this and he would do that. And so that has now become their thing. So what I mean by their thing is their thing that bonds them together. Yeah, their mutual interest. So if you are friends with someone, you usually have a mutual interest. You like cars, or you like going on holiday together. So based on that, it's an opportunity to bond. Yeah, and Guruji has started painting now again. So he started painting, and he's asked my wife to come to his house, to sit next to him, to paint with him for 2-3 hours on end, yeah, and to sit and paint with him. And that's her time with him, yeah. It may not be the same time as me, where I'm with him and I'm serving him in the same way, but she's getting her time in her individual way. She likes painting. What better way to bond with Guruji than to do something that she likes? She doesn't like making tea for Guruji. I like making tea for Guruji. Yeah.
And I heard there are not so many people know how to make a proper tea for Guruji, because he's quite specific about the way of making tea. Yeah,
there's an art to making tea. And I think the Chinese appreciate tea. And there is how long it's brewed, the tea bag is brewed for, the amount of milk, the amount of sweetener. It's all very important. And if the tea is not right, Guruji will know about it. I'll tell you one story about the tea. I remember we were in the Krishna lounge and he wanted a tea, so I made him a tea, but there wasn't the right tea bags. I thought it was the right tea bag. I thought it was the right tea for Guruji, but it was the wrong tea. So I made the tea, prepared the tea as normal, and I served him the tea. He didn't ask me for a tea. I just thought it would be a nice thing to do because he hadn't had a tea for a long time. And so he finished talking with people, and he was about to get up, and he saw the tea and he said, there's a tea. Nice, I drink the tea. He drank the tea, he drank it to the finish, and he said, that was one of the most disgusting teas I've ever tasted. And I was like, oh, really sorry. But then he said, but it was made with love, so I drank the complete tea.
Wow.
And so, yeah, he was in one sentence he was crushing my ego, but in the other sentence he was encouraging me for showing some initiative and making him a tea. So this is the thing with Guruji. Everything you do is important. You know, whether it's making a tea, whether it's ironing his robe, whether it's cleaning a table, whether it's cleaning his. You need to do everything in life with the awareness that Guruji is watching you. And if you live your life with that awareness, then everything you do will be successful, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not only like Guruji are watching, but also like we are doing it for him. No matter we are doing it for our wife or for our friends, but
absolutely,
if we can treat everything like we are doing it for Guruji, I think that's another level.
Yes, and Krishna talks about in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 26, this famous verse of, you can do anything. You can do anything. You can brush your teeth for Guruji. Yeah, you can shower for Guruji. You know, even you can do all of these things for Guruji, and he will take it. Like I said, I don't do much. I literally don't do much for Guruji. I'm not giving thousands and thousands of euros. I'm not changing Bhakti Marga. I'm not revolutionizing Bhakti Marga with my talking. I'm not doing it, but you know what? He gives me his time because there is something in me that has to come out. I don't believe it's come out yet, but there's something in me that has to come out, and he sees it and he's willing to honor it. And that is very, very humbling for me, that someone who is talking to VIPs, who's talking to people from all over the world, politicians, big businessmen, he makes time for a nobody like me, and that's incredibly humbling. Yeah, and like I said, he makes time for my wife, you know, and my wife is a busy mom. She has 2 young children. She has a household, and yet he invites her to paint with him, not because it's about the painting. It's just about the time with Guruji. That's it. She can paint alone. She can paint in a class. She can paint with other people. But this time alone with Guruji is very precious for her. And that's what I mean. So forget the external leela of I'm a Mataji, I'm in China, I'm far away from him. Forget that. It's all rubbish. If you want to connect with him, you dive deep in your heart and you find him there. You find him there. And it's Guruji's responsibility, his duty to honor that and show you that he's listened to your prayer.
Wow, that's very inspiring. I think that it really works for a Sangha group who are so far away from Guruji. Because we often get confused, like we have this longing to be close to him, but then it's not happening yet, or not happening according to our expectation. But through your story, I can also hear that because you really show that you trust trust of him. Like when he asked you to move to Germany, you just like left everything behind and try very hard to fit in the new environment. Even the life is going downwards, but you still keep that faith, keep that trust. So is there anything like you think particularly help you to go through the hard period? Because during the hard period, we're often without, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah,
so what keeps you hang on there?
It's a very good question, a very good question. And if I may, I'll give you a long answer.
Yeah, we would love long answer.
I will start off by saying the trust has to be built. And the trust is built through experience. I've known Guruji a long time. And during this time, he showed me many things, many instances where he does know everything. He knows everything. One small example. Guruji had injured his back very badly. He pulled a muscle and he could hardly walk. Yeah. And this was many, many years ago. And even though he was in a lot of pain, he came down and gave darshan and so on. And I saw this, I was very moved. Anyway, our trip, we were living in the UK at this point. So my wife and myself, we'd come to visit him. We came to say goodbye. So we came to his house and we said goodbye. And during this time, normally we touch his feet and we would leave. But this time, he took my wife's hand and he was holding it forever. It felt like forever. He was holding it, he was stroking it, he was playing with her fingers. And if any other man had done that to my wife, I would be like, this is crazy. This should not be happening. I would take his arm and pull it away. But he was doing it for ages with the back pain, sitting on his chair. And I was thinking, this is weird. This is completely weird. We came home, we flew home. And a few days later, my wife's father passed away. And he went shopping and he left the shop and he suddenly had a heart attack and he passed away. And Guruji didn't directly say to her, do you know what? Don't worry, your father's going to pass away. Don't worry, I'm going to be with you. He never does it that directly. But what he did do, by showing her, he showed her that he did know everything, that he knew that this was going to be a difficult time for her and that he was with her. And when I learned of his passing away, everything made sense. He was doing it to spend time with her, to almost give her feed her with positive energy or divine energy so that she could come through this difficult experience. Another instance that comes to mind was he'd been visiting London. We celebrated Narasimha's birthday at the Narasimha temple. And I was Guruji flew into UK and he was flying out and flying back to Germany. And I was going to drive from the UK to Germany. And I was saying goodbye to Guruji, and Guruji said to me and my wife, he said, how are you going back to Germany? How are you going to Germany? I said, we're driving. And he said, take your time, sleep in, relax, take it easy, drive slowly, and reach Germany. I had my own idea. I knew Guruji's flight was in the morning. So I was thinking, okay, we need to leave early. We need to get on the train. We need to drive so that when Guruji arrives in Germany, we arrive at the same time. So I was putting pressure on my wife and the family to get the kids ready. Let's go. Next day, we left and we drove to the train. And I don't know if you've caught that between the UK and France, there is a sea, of course. You all know that. And underneath is a train that takes cars from the UK to France. It travels underneath the sea. And it's a bit like when you board a plane. Once you get on the plane, there's no possibility of getting out. You have to see the journey through. So we were driving. We drove the car onto the train. There was cars. We were inside the train. There was no possibility of getting out. Guruji called. Anshul, where are you? Oh, Guruji, I'm on the train. I'm just about to leave the UK and go to France. Guruji says, oh, Anshul, that's a shame. I missed my flight. I was hoping to drive with you guys back to Germany. But because we were on the train, Guruji couldn't meet us anymore. And so we missed a complete opportunity to have 6 or 7 hours of Guruji with us in the car, traveling from the UK to Germany. And that was a big lesson for me too. It doesn't matter how crazy it sounds with Guruji, listen to him. Because he's not going to, the way a master gives you an instruction, he's not going to say, Anshul, do this, because if you do this, this will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen. He won't give you the full plan. You know, if you're in a business meeting, you want the full plan. Yeah. But he won't give you the full plan because he wants you to learn through experience. And so through experiences like that, we have learned to trust whatever he says, even though it sounds crazy. So when it came to the point of moving to Germany, he asked me to move to Germany. He asked my wife as well to move to Germany. And we said, where should we live? He goes, oh, just live in a room. You can sleep on top of each other. It's no problem. And that's like, we were used to a house with the kids having their separate room, you know, Western luxuries, yeah. And I was like, this is a big step. This is a big step. To leave everything and come to Germany with nothing, not know the language, nothing. I was doing very well in my career. I was in a very successful practice. I was earning very good money. To give all of that up was not a small thing. And I remember my wife said this, we've got to do it. Guruji told us to do it, we've got to do it. But me, my doubting mind, I went to Guruji and I asked him again, do you really want me to move to Germany? And he grabbed my head. He grabbed my head in the headlock, like a wrestling move. And he started doing this. He started rubbing my head really hard. And my brother was there and he said, look, he doesn't trust me. He doesn't trust me. He doesn't trust me. And that haunted me. Those words from Guruji haunted me. Why am I here if I don't trust him? Why am I following a guru if I cannot trust him? Why, Guruji often says in his satsangs, he wants gamblers. People who are willing to put everything on the line. Not people who want business. Guruji, I do so many hours of server, so I want you to do this for me. Yeah. Or it's not an exchange, it's not a business deal, it's not a transaction. It's you're following a master. Are you willing to put everything on the line for your master or not? It's that simple. Are you willing to gamble everything to follow the instruction of your master or not? And so those words haunted me throughout the whole time. I remember Brexit happened. Brexit. So the UK just voted to leave Europe. And I came to visit Guruji. And the first thing Guruji said to me when I saw him was, so you decided to leave. Move as soon as possible to Germany now. So 4 months later, we left everything and we came to Germany. The plan was at that time that I would travel, fly to the UK on a Thursday evening. I would work Friday and Saturday, and then fly back on Sunday. And the rest of the time, I was in Germany. Monday to Thursday.
在商量国家大事的话，那个翻译不就知道了？
Can
对
you hear
啊
me?，
大家都要知道的呀，是的呀。
What is that? Sorry, somebody microphone is on. Can you please mute yourself, please? That's weird because we are not allowing participants to unmute themselves.
So yeah, and so I was commuting from Germany to UK. So from Monday to Thursday, you said I had to learn German. I was yeah. And what happened after 4 months was my boss sacked me in the UK. I had no job. Because we had a few problems and patients were waiting for me, and so they sacked me. So I remember coming home. It was on my wedding anniversary and the birthday of my first son. And Guruji was in India at this time. And I came home and I said, I've lost my job. I don't know what we're going to do. We don't have money. Or I have no way of earning money at the moment because I don't know German. I'm in a foreign land and whatnot. And at this point, obviously I would talk to Guruji, but I wasn't so close I could call him, or I could just come to his place and explain the situation to him. And also he was in India. 2 days later, Guruji came back from India and came to Germany. And I didn't want to tell him the problem. I didn't want to go to him and say, look, this is my problem. I just wanted to try and find a solution for myself. Guruji, out of the blue, calls me. And he says, are you free now? I want you to come and help me with something. And at this point, I'm living 15 kilometers away. He has many people to help him with many things. Yeah. It's not that he needed me to help him with anything. Yeah. But he called me and I came, I got in the car, drove to him. Half an hour later, I was with him. And he's like, I didn't want to tell him anything. So he was working on something and he said, Anshul, what's happening? What's the new stuff? What's happening with you? And I told him, I've lost my job. I have at the moment no income. And Guruji panicked, not panicked, but Guruji was like, he made a big drama out of it. He was like, oh no, what are you going to do? You don't have any, how are you going to earn your money? How are you going to support your wife? How are you going to support your kids? You're in a foreign land. What are you going to do? He kept asking me and I kept saying, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And in my head, I'm thinking, you're the guru, you tell me. And he kept making a big drama out of it to see what my reaction was at that point. I think to see what my reaction was, and to also to make me realize the gravity of the situation. Yeah, that we had left everything. Yes, we had some savings, of course, but we'd come to Germany, and we have no income. I have no job in Germany and UK. Then after maybe 15-20 minutes of Guruji going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? He looked deep into my eyes and he rubbed my heart and he said, he rubbed my chest like this and he said, you'll find a job soon. 2 days later, I was at my German course because I had to learn German. And I was explaining my situation in German to practice my German. And the teacher said, you lost your job. We need an English teacher here. Would you be interested in teaching English at the school? And we'd also give you a discount on your German course and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, of course, I would do anything because I need the money. So from nothing, a job fell into my lap. I just had to from nothing, a job came. And so I started teaching English. I started teaching business English. And there's big demand for business English here. So I was earning money. And also at the same time, I was picking up devotees from the airport and transporting them to the ashram. And during all of this time, I didn't have, like I said before, this whole connection with Guruji that I have now, or this where I could just kind of go and see Guruji and this was basically a tapasya. This was a tapasya for myself. It was to bring my arrogance down, so that I'm prepared to do anything, you know, to make sure that I have enough food on the table. Yeah. And I did this for 9-10 months, almost a year. And every so often I would meet Guruji and I would meet him for dinner. And at the times where I was feeling very, very low, he would call me for dinner or he would meet me and he would give me just enough encouragement to say, carry on, keep going. And eventually I met a very, very funny story. I met a dentist in Bad Traubach. I don't know if Bad Traubach is the next town to Guruji's ashram. Guruji was there maybe 5 or 6 years before, and he needed some tooth treatment. So he needed a crown. And he was speaking to the dentist. And the dentist was saying, oh, I'm getting old. I need to find someone maybe who can take over the practice. So this was before he even asked me to move to Germany. That's what you've all got to understand. This is before he even asked me to move to Germany. And he said to him, yeah, I need to find someone to take over the practice. It'd be nice to find a buyer so that I can sell the practice and go into retirement and all this stuff. And Guruji said to him, I will send you someone. I will send you someone. A few years later, Guruji asked me to move to Germany. Guruji asked me to meet this guy. So I met him and he's a German dentist. He's had the practice for 27 years. And he said, yeah, you can work for me, no problem. So I worked for him first as a dental nurse because he had a staff shortage. After working for him as a dental nurse, he pushed me and he said, look, do the exams, get your license here in Germany. So I did that. I didn't think I was ready, but I passed the exam. I got my dental license. And then he said, I want to form a business partnership with you. You're a good guy. We really understand each other well. Let's form a business partnership. So I formed a business partnership with him. And so from nothing, from no job, I become an English teacher. I become a taxi driver. I passed my German exam. I learned to become a dentist here in Germany. Then I find myself 50-50 partnership in a German dental practice. And now in January, we're coming to the point where I will overtake the practice and buy the practice from him, all on the doorstep of Guruji's ashram. Just in the next town of Guruji's ashram, which allows me to earn money for my family, but it also allows me to participate in the Sangha here in Sri Pritanilia. It's taken 5 years, but what a blessing. I've had to go from what I thought having everything to having nothing, then building everything slowly up with Guruji's help and guidance, to building everything up to the point where I now can say, given the choice going back to the UK, I would turn it down. If you give me all the money in the world, I don't want to go back to the UK. Look at the political instability in the UK at the moment. That's enough reason not to go back.
Yeah. Wow. That's really, really a story. Like you how to say, you use your time, your experience really to how to say, to really to feel this experience, to build this trust. And I think many of us, we all learned this. We all learned your experience. And I really think it's very, very helpful for us to be patient, Because normally we ask for Guruji for something, we always expect it's gonna realize very soon, but we don't have this, how to say, we don't have this patience or sincerity really to follow Guruji's instructions, step by step, small by small.
And that's what I'd say too. Look, even on this path, even following Guruji, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. They have times where they listen to Guruji and they show him amazing faith. There are times where they don't listen to Guruji. But it doesn't matter necessarily what happens. The thing is, engage with Guruji. That means, try and engage with him and experience him. Don't settle for my experience. That's my experience. You need to go and get your own experience. All of you individually, you need to long for that experience from a divine master. And if your longing is sincere enough, he will give it to you. And you will learn yourself to have this trust. There's no use in you listening to my story and having trust from me. It doesn't make any sense. You need to develop that trust in yourself. I remember another story about trust, short story about trust. There was a devotee here, a Russian devotee who lived here in the ashram. And he wanted to get married. So he went to Guruji and said, I want you to find me a wife. Yeah. He's quite shy by nature. He's not so charismatic and very, very shy. He said, I want you to find me a wife. And Guruji said, patience, wait. 1 year goes by, 2 years goes by, 3 years goes by, 4 years goes by. He's waiting. The guy's waiting. 5 years goes by, 6 years goes by. I think between 7 and 10 years go by. He must be thinking, where's my wife? He said patience. He comes for a darshan one day. He's in the queue. And Guruji is giving darshan to a lady, to a Turkish lady. And she says, I want to get married. And then Guruji says to this lady, you want to get married? Okay, get married to him. And he points to this person who he told 10 years ago or 7 years ago that I'll find you a wife. They didn't go on any day into it. Well, they probably did, but they got married. They live in the village next to the ashram. They have a child. And from what I see, they are very happy. Yeah. But the difference between me and him was I could see Guruji every now and again and get some words of encouragement. In front of Guruji, we all feel better. Let's be honest. Yeah. And so it was a bit easier for me to trust. But this guy didn't see Guruji all of the time. But yet he waited and he was patient and he waited. I think, I'm not sure the exact, but it was definitely years. He waited years for Guruji to put him with this. And it wasn't a typical Guruji fashion. It wasn't, this lady will be good. I've got a good lady for you. I'm going to present her to you. She's this and this and this and this. There was no plan. It's just like very casually, oh, maybe you get married to him. And that was enough. He had enough trust in Guruji's words, however casually he said it, to give up his life and gamble his life. It's a gamble. And he's happy. And this is why Guruji likes gamblers, because if you're really sincere, if you're really intense in your longing, if you're really intense in your trust for him, it just takes a sentence, a word, on one encounter, and your whole life will change. Am I talking too much?
No, at least we are so absorbed into your satsang. So because now time is passing by, and just for other conclusion of today's sharing, what would you say your biggest inspiration from Guruji? How will you put it?
It's a difficult question. The biggest inspiration observing Guruji, the way, from what I observe, is how he appreciates everyone. Yeah, how he appreciates everyone. One small example. Guruji sometimes, because he doesn't want to flatter our ego, he doesn't always praise the people around him all of the time. In fact, he's the opposite. He's quite strict with us sometimes. He, as you know, he lives in his house, and the top floor is for him, and the bottom floor is for some brahmacharis and for some of the people who live there. And he went to use the downstairs bathroom, and he said, "Wow, this place is dirty." Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but for Guruji standards, it was dirty. Yeah. And Guruji said, and I said, "I'm so sorry, Guruji. I'll clean it. I will clean it. I will get the boys, and we'll clean it thoroughly for you. Yeah, I'm sorry." And Guruji said, "No, Anshul, leave it. All of these boys, they serve me so well that I will clean the bathroom myself." And so Guruji was on his hands and knees for maybe an hour and a bit, going in every corner of the bathroom, cleaning their toilet, cleaning the shower, removing the hair, opening the cupboards, removing all of the bottles and the cosmetics and things like that from each individual shelf, clean the shelf, putting it back. And he said, "These people do so much for me. The least I can do is clean their bathroom." And this is the thing with Guruji, because rightly so, it's often on the outside we see him and he's being served, he's being, people are looking after his every need. But people don't often see this side of Guruji, how he's also so humble that he's prepared to do anything for us as well. And another example of this is, I remember when I came back from work and I was really, really tired. And I came to see him and I bowed his feet and I fell asleep. Shouldn't fall asleep in front of the master, but I fell asleep. And what he did was, it was lunchtime and it was my task to prepare everything for lunch. But what he did was he prepared everything for lunch. He put the cutlery out, he put the dishes out, he brought the food, he made me a tea, he served my plate. This is all stuff that I should have been done for him. He could have complained, he could have woken me up and shouted at me and said, "Look, this has to be done." But he did everything, he did everything. And then he woke me up and he said, "Anshul, lunch is ready, let's eat together." And so everything was served. And I was so horrified that I'd fallen asleep. But yet he'd taken the time, he'd let me sleep and he just prepared everything for me. And this is the side of Guruji that I think people don't always see, that although he's a guru and his presence demands from us, he doesn't demand it, but his presence demands from us servitude, because through this servitude we are humbled. Through this servitude we realize that in front of the master we are nothing. We are nothing. But yet he will show us every now and again that he's prepared to do these things to show us this love, to show us and to prove to us that we are loved. We are loved. All of us are loved. And all of you have encountered it yourselves. That's why you're here. That there is someone here who shows you unconditional love. Yeah. So yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's a very touching story. I never thought Guruji would clean bathroom because clean bathroom, clean toilets, it's like most of people don't like. But Guruji clean.
Yeah, and especially for us, you know, to clean toilets is seen as a demeaning task, you know, especially for a guru, for a master, and for him to do that, yeah, it's very, very touching, very humbling. And he deliberately told me not to tell anyone that he was doing it, and so he did it, and that's what I mean. And there are instances like that where he shows, and that's why it doesn't matter whether you're near or whether you're far from him. The heart-to-heart connection that you can have with him is beyond time and space. And sometimes, I tell you honestly, you can be with him the whole day and you can feel far away from him because you're not attentive enough. You're not, you don't appreciate him enough. You think of him just as another human being. You forget that he's the master, that you forget he knows everything. You forget that he knows your soul, he knows your past life, he knows this life, and he knows your future life. You forget that. And sometimes what's a little bit disappointing for me is that I forget that often. And when I see him with other devotees, and you see how he's touched their lives, and it's a reminder for me what I have in front of me. Yeah. And so, and that's why I would encourage all of you, try not to look at the outside too much, and don't look at the swamis, don't look at the rishis, don't look at the brahmacharis and the people who live there and think, wow, they're so saintly, they're so good, and they're always around Guruji. We are with Guruji because we are sick as well. In as much as maybe on one side we've earned it, we are also sick, and we need this attention, this intensive attention, to keep us on the straight and the narrow, to keep us on the path. And you guys, if you're sincere enough, if you stay together, if you talk about Guruji, meet with Guruji, you can have just a fulfilling connection with Guruji in China. I believe that strongly. Maybe we could have questions, otherwise I'll just sit here and cry in front of you.
Yeah, I guess yes, it depends on your time. Actually, for us, we would appreciate each minute from your side. But if you are okay, we have no problem. We can open a question and answer section. Yes.
Yeah, maybe I think I've talked enough, and maybe if any of you have some questions you want to ask me, I can try my best to answer them. I'm not the best with philosophy, let me tell you. With knowledge like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, there's better people, Swamis and Myron is better at that than I am. But other questions maybe I can answer better. I should know it, but I don't.
Wow, that's very nice of you. You are willing to share more time with us. So we already yeah, let's invite everybody that if you have a question, maybe you can type it in the chat box so we can read out. So I already see there is a question. Yeah, maybe Anshul, you can see the question in the chat box. It's about. Let me. You prefer to read by yourself, or I read it out for you?
Let me see. Chat. Yes, I've got it. Okay. So let me read the question. In China, there are a few brahmacharis recently, and this is apparently starting to become a spiritual trend. Some people have been influenced and also want to become a brahmacharini. Even I've heard others say that brahmacharini or rishi or swami, these roles represent the level of spirituality. If grihastha, brahmachari, rishika, swami are elevated according to the level of spirituality, how to understand this correctly? Thank you. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me see you guys again. Close. This is only my opinion. This is only my opinion. I choose my words carefully. In front of God, we are all the same. In front of Guruji, we are all the same. We are all people striving to find fulfillment, striving to find happiness, striving to find God, okay? We have found that with Guruji. For me, I know that to be true because I have a sense of belonging to Guruji. Deep in my heart, even if I wanted to go away, I can't go away. Guruji would find a way to drag me back to him. I know that in my heart. When it comes to the heart-to-heart relationship with Guruji, the color of your clothes doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. But for certain individuals, like a doctor prescribing individual medicine for every individual, certain individuals have different roles to play. For some brahmacharis, it's not appropriate for them to be in the world. Why? Because they are more likely to drown in Maya. And so, by being a brahmachari, they are more protected and shielded from Maya. They don't have the distraction. Let's face it, in front of Guruji, sometimes having a wife, having children is a distraction. It means less time for yourself, less time for your sadhana, and so on. And if you have the wrong life partner, your spiritual life can become tremendously difficult. If you have the right life partner, then it can propel you towards Guruji. And it's like that with Rishikas and Rishis and Swamis and Swaminis. They have a particular role to play when it comes to their samskaras, their past lives, their potentiality, and so on. I wouldn't look at it as elevated and de-elevated. Because I'm a grihastha, I'm somehow de-elevated. No. People are people, and people deserve respect. And it's not that I show respect to Swamis and Rishis and Rishikas, of course. Yeah. But also, just like Guruji has earned my respect, he has earned the respect of all of you people. I have to also earn all of your respect. For example, as a dentist, I can't treat people with disrespect. I have to earn the respect of my patients. And then they say, okay, I will go back to him. Do you understand what I mean? And it's the same whether you're brahmachari, whether you're rishi, whether you're swami. Respect is respect. Finished. And whether someone is elevated or not, I believe only Guruji can say. I believe only Guruji can say. And does that answer the question?
So
Yes,
Yeah, because I think we can get so caught up in the roles people are playing as opposed to what's behind the role. Behind the role, there is a heart longing for God. That must be honored. That must be respected. That must be fulfilled. And if we can help each other fulfill that potentiality, whether you're a rishi, whether you're a swami, everyone will be happy.
Thank you, really help.
Good. Any other questions? I have to look on the chat. Because I'm looking on my phone, so I don't know.
Yeah, because we are not expecting this, but so now we are just inviting everybody that if you have a specific question, you can send it in the chat box. I think also in the meantime, maybe we can we invite everybody. If you if you're available, can you open your camera so Anshul can get us to sing this Chinese sangha? So I would like to invite everybody to open your video to say hi and to say thank you for Anshul's time. We are very grateful that we have this opportunity to have you with us. Yeah, I can totally see why Guruji specifically asked us to invite you as a guest.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know he asked us.
Yeah, he said your name. And we were saying, what? Because with all due respect, but I was wondering, what? Who is Anshul? Except he is Marian's brother, but I know nothing about him. How should I ask? But you know, I trust.
Yeah.
So I heard this saying that Guruji's every dish is a small grace. We need to appreciate. Yeah, that's a small grace. So
and
yeah,
imagine,
you can see.
Imagine for you all in China, if Guruji does take the time to tell you something about your life, even if it's small, it's an amazing thing where someone takes an interest, a guru takes an interest. Someone from, imagine all of the coincidences that have to take place to bring you in front of Guruji so that he can tell you something. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's mind-blowing.
Yes, indeed. So in the meantime, we received another question in the chat box.
Yeah.
I just read out, translate for you. It's one of the followers is asking, what's the relationship between God and a snake?
I didn't understand the question. With God and the
snake, the animal snake, like a Adishesh.
Adishesh. Specifically Adishesh or?
Yeah, but her question is about snake. I guess it's a quite general spiritual question, like why people, why in Sanatana Dharma we consider snake like it's quite a how to say unique species.
Yeah,
I guess the question is about that side.
Yeah, a snake. If you look at a snake, there's a couple of things. In Sanatana Dharma, in Hinduism, we worship everything. Yeah, because we see divinity in everything. And you see animals, they take a primary role. Females take a primary role, gods, goddesses, and animals as well. We have hybrids. We have half man, half lion, half monkey gods, elephant gods. And so animals are given pride of place because they are ultimately divine beings. From the snake point of view, normally we associate the snake with Shiva. He's always around Shiva's neck. We associate Adishesh with Lord Vishnu, the many-headed serpent. And the amazing thing about snakes is how when you see them in front of Vishnu, or when Vishnu is on top of them, they are always attentive. They're always attentive. When you go in front of a cobra and you've seen it, it's looking at your every move. And if you follow the cobra is following you. And this is, for me, very unique. And that's very pertinent when, in terms of your service, you have to be attentive. You have to be attentive. You can't. Guruji is a master of few words sometimes. He doesn't say much, but you have to be attentive and kind of know what does he need in this situation, what is appropriate in this situation, because like I said, Guruji is very human. There is a time to laugh and to joke. There is a time to be serious. There is a time to give him his privacy. There is a time to say something. There is a time to ask him a question. There is a time to keep your mouth shut. And this you can only learn when you're attentive, like Adishesh, when you're like the serpent on Shiva's neck. And so this for me is something for me to take home, this attentiveness. It's very, very important. And when you're so attentive like that in life, you won't go far wrong.
Okay, thank you. And there is another question. It's can you share about how to deal with anxiety and emotions of fear in our daily life? How to remember love during difficult time?
It's like what Guruji says sometimes, isn't it? When you have tough times, you suddenly turn to God and the Master.
It's 看起来好像安树掉线了。对，确认一下是不是安树掉线了？
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, your signal breaked.
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me? 你看一下我的麦克风打开了吗 ？Okay.
Hello?
Anshu, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Hi. Wait. What?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
Sorry. So I think there's a problem with my connection. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I don't know what you heard about everyday life and.
Yeah, we didn't hear your answer at all.
Okay, so I said that basically, when times are good, we forget God, and when times are bad, we remember God. And I would say we need to try and lead our lives so that we do it the other way around. Not we try to remember God all of the time. Because when you have anxiety, anxiety comes when you're unsure. And this comes when you don't trust. Yeah, you don't believe that everything that's meant to happen to you is happening for a reason. You just believe, or you hold so strongly on your systems. What I mean by systems is that, okay, for example, I really like this pen. I'm holding to it so strong. And when I have the feeling that this pen will leave me, I have anxiety. Yeah. So you're not trusting that you can live without this pen. Yeah. You're not trusting that you can live without this pen. And such realizations come when you build up your strength in sadhana. Yeah. You build up your trust in sadhana. So my point, my summary is this: pray, pray, pray. Yeah. When you pray in good times, it's like you're investing in a good stock in the stock market. You invest in your time, and you invest in the good stock market. So you're investing in a good company. So when you have an economic crisis, the company is strong. So when times are good, invest in yourself, pray, do sadhana, contemplate, inquire about your life, inquire about Guruji. And so that when you have bad times, when you have moments of anxiety, your sadhana that you did in the good times will help you in the bad times. And when you have bad times, pray even more. Pray even more and long for Guruji's presence in your life even more. He will come. I'm telling you, he will come. He will bilocate like he did for me. When I narrated earlier, he will appear. He can appear in front of you. He can also appear in your dream. He can appear to you on online darshan. There are many, many ways he can appear to you. So trust in that, and and go through, carry on.
Yeah, so here just to clarify, like here we said pray is not like, oh Guruji, please give me this, oh Guruji, please give me that. It's not that kind of pray. It's more like a worship, like building the relationship with Guru through puja, through ritual, and also like go deep into invest on our sadhana. That's what you mean by pray, right?
Exactly. I'm sorry I didn't make that clear. I mean, pray. You're praying for this love relationship with God and yourself and God and Guru, because problems will come and go. Anxiety will come and go. Yeah. 1 minute you're anxious, the next minute you're not anxious. Yeah. And so this is what you're investing in. Don't invest in the company that goes down. And Guruji says, don't meditate on your problems. Om problem namaha, om problem namaha, om problem namaha. Yeah. Don't invest in your problems. Don't invest in your problems. Give it the attention that it's due in order to solve the problem, and then move on and invest in your time with Guruji. Invest in your time in prayer. Invest in time in your sadhana.
Okay. Great, thank you very much. And there is another question, like in your experience with the master that you are raising an autistic child. My son is with Asperger's syndrome. Sometimes it's difficult to be with him when he was emotional outbreaks. What is Guruji's advice for raising autistic children and how to help them? Thank you.
Who asked the question?
Yeah, Ambika Dasi.
Where are you, Ambika Dasi?
Ambika Dasi.
Yeah, Jagrude. Jagrude
Can you
Anshul.
come spotlight Ambika Dasi also?
Can I see you? I don't see your face.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, we're
okay,
trying
okay.
to spotlight her also. Spotlight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you open your
Jagrude.
camera, Ambika Dasi?
Oh,
Okay, it's open.
it's already open. Yeah.
Okay, can you spotlight? Yeah, okay, thank you. We saw it. Yeah.
Ah, yes, I see.
Yeah, yeah,
Jagrude.
Jagrude.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Not so easy sometimes.
Yeah,
have
he
to-
has a difficult time in school, so he could hardly go to school sometimes.
Yeah. What's Guruji's advice?
Yeah.
Love and accept them for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
How does that translate into everyday life? That's easy to
Yeah,
say.
it's very difficult.
You can't live for other people. Yeah,
Mm.
you can't worry about what other people think and what society thinks about your child.
Okay.
Your child is your child. And Guruji once told us, I was telling him about all the difficulties that we are having with him. He doesn't speak. He's 7 years old. He still wears his nappy. He drinks only milk from his baby bottle. He has moments where he's crying and screaming out loud. And he said, you are learning much more from him than he's learning from you. And this is the thing. In terms of practical tips, you have to develop so much love in your heart that it doesn't matter if he's, as a mother, as his mother, is it your daughter or your son?
My son.
as his mother, you know what is appropriate to do at what time. You know him, yeah. You know how to calm him down. You know how to make him happy, and so you know that. But the thing is to develop so much love in your own heart that he can feel that.
Okay.
And that's
Thank you.
That's what I would. I hope that answers your question, because every child is difficult. It's difficult to say what. I don't think what we do with Rama is the same as what you would do with your son, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a gift. It is a gift. It is a gift, and I think especially kids with autism and who are on the spectrum, you are taught to think in ways. You're taught to think about your own life in a much different way, and you are lucky in the sense of that Guruji accepts everyone, and the amount of attention and love and grace that Rama gets as an autistic child is more than normal people. Yeah. And just because they're autistic, it doesn't mean they are in any way denied this path.
Okay.
He does puja in the temple. I remember once we were in Mauritius with him, and this is what goes down to Guruji would do everything what is necessary. So Guruji was in Mauritius, and he was eating a laddu, a sweet, and he ate the sweet, and he didn't want to eat any more. And he opened the door, and Rama was there. He just took the laddu and put it in his mouth. Yeah, pushed it in his mouth, and he was basically giving him Mahaprasad. Yeah, a 5-year-old boy Mahaprasad. And it doesn't matter. In front of Guruji, all of this stuff is irrelevant. It's about the soul. And so for you, try and develop so much love in your heart, so much love for God, and you'll find your way for sure.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your advice.
Okay. Thank you, Ambika Dasi. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's for now. And we just really like to thanks again for Anshul for your time. We know you are very busy. It's not easy to find the timing for us, but we really appreciate you even extend the time with us. Really thanks for, and
thank you. Thank you, everyone.
We hope to see you again.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, everyone. Jai Gurudev to all of the Chinese Sangha. And maybe everyone can say, unmute and say Jai Gurudev. I don't hear anything. Everybody can unmute.
Jai Gurudev.
You can unmute yourself.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Thank you.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Very much.
Thank you, Anshul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. You have shared.
Jai Gurudev.
Gurudev.
Thank you.
Jai Gurudev. Thank you, Anshul.
Jai Gurudev.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jai Gurudev. Thank you.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one question. Is anyone coming to Springen soon?
For now the visa, I'm not sure Chinese open the visa for Schengen visa. Yeah. But definitely some of them are coming to Mauritius. Will you come to Mauritius?
Okay. Good. Well, I hope to see you soon. Some of you here physically.
Yeah.
Good.
Now you build your connection with the big Chinese Sangha. Don't worry. Whenever we have a chance, we're gonna say hi to you personally.
Welcome. Good.
Thank you.
So
thanks everybody. So we will see you next week. Good night. Have a nice evening. Bye.
bye-bye. Jai Gurudev. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.